Hi! In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to needle felt a pumpkin. The tutorial is very detailed, so even complete beginners can give it a try. You can use any colored wool you want. My pumpkins are of more traditional colors, but don't let that stop you. Let your imagination go wild. First, let's see what you will need. Carded wool is the best choice for complete beginners, and you can use bats or slivers. One 38 gauge needle felting needle. Mine is a twisted star, but you can use other shapes like star and triangle as well. And one 40 gauge needle felting needle for finishing and smoothing the pumpkin surface. Mine is a twisted triangle. It's optional. If you only have the 38 gauge, that's alright. Another tool you can use for deepening the lines between the slices is a Clover pen style tool with 2 needles. Mine has 2 38 gauge star needles. And of course, you will need a mat. Some useful information before we start. I use approximately 7 or 8 grams of wool for the fleshy part of the pumpkin and around 0.3 gram for the stem. The whole project takes around an hour or an hour and a half. So start by stacking some carded wool. As you can see, I am simply putting some layers of my bat together. I use around 1/3 of the amount of the yellow carded wool that I want to use for the pumpkin's body. Now gather the sides and bundle the stack. This will allow you to start shaping the round sides of the pumpkin right from the start. Start poking with the 38 gauge needle. It is very sharp, so be careful not to stab yourself. Go around and needle felt along the side of the pumpkin base. Pull the bundle a bit towards you so you have a better access to the sides. When one part stays together, move along the side, fold the wool in and continue felting. Don't worry about any imperfections. This is just a base layer. Also, you don't need to felt it extremely firm, only to make the wool stay in the round shape. When your round shape is done, needle felt on the top of the base as well. Now make the base a bit denser by felting more around the side of it. Felt the top a bit more. Turn it around and felt the bottom as well. This is going to be a softer or semi-firm pumpkin, so you don't need to needle felt too much at this point. As soon as the required shape is visible, you can move on to the next step. The top of the bundle is not so pretty, so the next layer is going to cover it. As you can see, this type of pumpkin is built up layer by layer. In this way, you have total control over how it will turn out. So put some wool on top of the base and felt it down. You can see that the base is still soft and it looks fuzzy, which shows that it's not needle felted enough, but it's what we need at the moment. The next step is to add more volume to the side of the pumpkin. Take some wool and make thinner but fluffier strips. Altogether, I will use 6 of these. As you can see, one strip will go from the middle on top to the middle on the bottom. So place one end of the strip in the middle of your base and felt it down a bit. Then smooth it around the side. Needle felt it down in the middle of the strip, then pull the sides in and felt those down too. Place a second strip opposite the first one and do the same steps. Place it in the middle, felt it down, smooth it over the side, felt it down, then pull in the sides and step some more. The next 2 strips go across. Prepare your third and fourth strips and take the same steps. Now prepare the 5th and 6th strips. I have a little extra, as you can see, and I will use it to make some corrections if necessary. That's why it's always a good idea to have a bit more wool than the recommended quantity. These 2 parts are looking thinner than the others, so I use these 2 strips to fatten them up a bit. To make sure that the strip can cover the thin patch, I spread it out a bit and start felting the side down carefully. This is the last layer you apply, so you need to pay more attention to detail. And now let's take care of the other thin part. Again, don't forget to spread your strip out to cover it. let's check how it looks so far. There, I spot a little thin part again, so I make use of the extra bit to cover it. Now obviously the pumpkin does not have to look perfect or even, but I want to avoid having too thin bits, especially because the next step is to firm it up. If you firm up a thin patch of wool, then it will be even thinner, and that would not look good. It looks bigger than the finished pumpkin, but that's good. Firming it will reduce its size. And it is still soft, which is ideal for creating deeper lines between the slices. Needle fell down in the center with the 38 gauge needle and start felting and firming the pumpkin up a bit. You can already see how this little felting started to make a difference. Keep poking the pumpkin from different angles. It's important because if you felt holding your needle at an angle of 90 degrees, you will only push the fibers together, compacting them and making the wool too firm for this project. You can clearly see the difference between the two sides. One is smoother, one is fuzzier. You can also test how much your pumpkin is felted by pinching the surface of it and trying to pull the fibers away. The less fibers you can pull away, the better felted your piece is. Let's felt the other half as well. Our pumpkin is looking nice. At this point, you can still see the needle marks. That's natural as the piece is not firmly felted yet. However, if the marks bother you, you can try massaging the wool a bit. The best solution is, of course, to smooth the surface out more. To this, I use my 40 gauge twisted triangle needle. I start from the middle, just like in the previous step, and work towards the side of the pumpkin. Again, I work at a slanted angle, and I work up and down on the side. You can see that the left side that I've just worked on is smaller already. Let's continue smoothing and firming the pumpkin. As you can see, I only poke in the first centimeter or first half inch of my needle. You don't need more. There are enough notches there to do the work. Besides, in this way, the pumpkin can remain relatively soft. If you do the pinch test again, you can see the difference. The pumpkin is still soft thanks to using only the first centimeter of the needle and poking at a slanted angle. Let's continue. Okay. Now we have a beautifully smooth yet soft pumpkin. You can massage the surface a bit if you want to make some of the needle marks less visible. However, the next step will help sort it out. Now we get to the part where you get to shape the slices of the pumpkin. Take your 38 gauge needle again. Deepen the center of the base, both on the top and bottom, by felting at a 90-degree angle. This is where a pen tool with two 38 star needles can come in handy, speeding up the compacting. Now let's create those lines and sections. On all of my pumpkins, I created 8 slices, simply creating a line horizontally and vertically, then dividing the 4 sections into halves. Take a look at the finished piece. Start from the middle just like before. Start stabbing at a 90-degree angle. Keep felting but move slowly. And in order to deepen the line and really separate the sections, go back and forth, but always keep to the 90-degree angle. Now make the other half of the horizontal line. The second line crosses the first at 90 degrees. However, you can get creative and divide your pumpkin in any way you want. When you are ready, you can use the pen tool to deepen the lines and separate the slices even further. Felt in the middle and close to the middle at a 90-degree angle. As you get closer to the sides, use a slanted angle. Then, as you go around the sides, keep a 90-degree angle again. As you can see, the gap between these two slices becomes much bigger thanks to this tool. You can deepen all the gaps this way. Now, as all the slices are separated, there is one more thing left to do: the stem. I show you how to make a cone-shaped one, but you can choose any shape you want. I use brown carded wool for this, but you can use any color you want. And only a small amount, around 0.3 gram, is needed. Make a small stack of it. Simply start rolling the wool. Since I want to make a cone shape, I don't roll it in the middle, but rather on the right side, letting the left side roll up loosely. With the 38 gauge needle, start felting, and don't forget to turn it as you felt. At the tip, tuck the fibers in, but be careful not to stab your fingers. You don't need to felt all the way down to the wider end of the shape. You will need that end loose for attaching it to the pumpkin. You can help shaping the tip by rolling it between your fingers. You can also roll the whole body of the stem on your palm. Take the 40 gauge needle and make it firmer and smooth out the surface of the stem. Spread out the loose end of the shape. carefully with a 38 gauge needle felled into the bottom of the shape. Cut in a bit on two opposite sides of the loose end so it's easier to attach it to the pumpkin. With the 38 gauge needle, create some lines on the stem with the same technique you used when separating the slices. You can create straight or crooked lines, whichever you prefer, but you can also leave this step out. When you are satisfied with how it looks, there is nothing left but to attach it to the pumpkin. Spread the loose ends a bit and take some off if you think it might be too much, but you might use them later in the gaps between the slices. Start felting the stem to the pumpkin. Make sure you felt it down from all sides. Use the lines on the stem and felt through them as well. In this way you can make sure that it is firmly attached to the pumpkin. Cut in the loose parts right above the middle of each slice. Pinch the loose parts together and pull them down into the gap between the slices. Pull the excess wool off. Fell down these parts around the stem and into the gaps. You are done! Congratulations!